Last week we spoke about the mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar, what the mitzvah is. And this week I'd like to start off without halachas. Usually we say halachas first and then afterwards some agoda maybe. This week I think we're going to do the opposite. And it could be some of it was mentioned last year. If you remember it from last year, just let me know. I think most of it is new. So last week we spoke about what the mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar is. Is it the Tekiyah itself or the Shmiyah of the mitzvah? And we also mentioned, I think last week, an interesting chinuch, that the chinuch says, why do we have a shvara broken up? One of the Tekiyahs are broken up, shvarim and teruah. So the Pashup Pshat is because when someone cries, first you have long, then you have shorter and shorter. But the chinuch says a different reason is because shvarim broken up, the person should know that he has to break his Yetzer Hara against what the Yetzer Hara is trying to get him to do. There's another thing. The Gemara says we blow shofar Rosh HaShana. Why? Kedei shetamlichuni aleichem. You should make me king over you. Tamlichuni. You should show that I'm the one who runs the world. Now, what does that mean? So, in last week's parsha, Atem Nitzavim Hayem Kolchem, when the day Moshe Rabbeinu was dying, and they called Klal Yisrael together. So there's a very interesting Zayar over there. The Zayar says, Atem Nitzavim Hayem Kolchem Hayom. What's that day? Hayom, that day is Rosh HaShana. That's what the Hayom is. Atem Nitzavim Hayem Kolchem Hayom is Rosh HaShana. And the question is, we know that a Jew has to always not be an oimid. He has to always try to grow and do more and more. Nitzavim is the opposite. Nitzavim means standing. A lashon of amida, not moving. Standing where you are, not moving. And Ata Nitzavim Hayom, today you're standing and you're not moving. Which day is that? Rosh HaShana. Rosh HaShana is the opposite. Rosh HaShana is the day we're makabel upon ourselves to move further and to do more things. Why does the Medrash say by the lashon of Nitzavim, standing still, that is the day of Rosh HaShana? I once heard a verse from Moshe Kana, and he said that in the morning when we do Tachnun, so after Tachnun say Shem Yisrael, and the halacha is when you say V'anachnu lo neida ma naseh, so after you say V'anachnu lo neida, you stand up ma naseh. So he said, what's the pshat? Why do you stand up by ma naseh? So he said pshat is V'anachnu lo neida, a Jew doesn't know what to do. He's in a situation, he's not trying to deal with the situation. What do I do with it? What do I do? What does a Jew do when he doesn't know what to do? He just goes further. Even though you don't know where you're headed. Just make sure you're doing something positive and going further. That's what this message is. Just stand up and go. Don't stay. Because you're not sure what to do, you're confused, you're not sure what to do, you're going to stay where you are, that you don't do. Yeah. I don't know what to do. You stand up and you go. Just stand up. Don't stay where you are. And here you see the opposite. Rosh HaShana, Nitzavim. You're standing where you are. What's pshat in the Amida? I think pshat is, in Hilchus Kriya Shema, is a very interesting halacha. There's three parts to Kriya Shema. There's the first pasuk, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. There's ve-chatima, and then there's ve-chatima. There's different halachos for each part of Kriya Shema. In ve-chatima, in the first part of Kriya Shema, the halacha is you're not allowed to be muramis to anybody. You're not allowed to even wink or point. In the first Shema ve-chatima, you're not allowed to do anything. Just saying ve-chatima. If you want to point to somebody or wave to somebody, it's awesome. You're not allowed to even be muramis be'einav, it says, to wink with your eye to somebody in the middle of ve-chatima. V'hoyim Shema already is more lenient. You could be miramis. Shema, the first sentence of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, has a unique halacha. And that halacha is, when we say that pasuk of Shema, you have to be standing in one place. You cannot be moving. You have to be standing in one place. You can't be walking. V'chatima, you could be walking while you're saying, if you can concentrate while you're walking, you can walk while you're saying ve-chatima. When we say the pasuk Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, it's also to walk. A person has to be standing still by that pasuk. This is what the Torah brings down B'Shem the Rashba. It's brought down in halacha. Why is that? Why when we say the first pasuk Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, why is it that I can't even walk? Just standing and saying the pasuk. And the answer is because the first pasuk of Shema Yisrael is B'Mekabel Oil Malchus Shemayim. That's what you're doing the first pasuk of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You're accepting upon yourself that Hashem is the one that runs the world. Mekabel Oil Malchus Shemayim. A Mekabel that everything that's done is through Hashem. When someone's Mekabel Oil Malchus Shemayim, he cannot have any other thoughts in mind. He can't be doing anything else. Because if you're doing something else, it's not a real Kabbalah. And Eved means, I'm a Kabbalah, whatever is happening is from Hashem. You can't be doing anything else. You have to be standing still. That's why in the first pasuk of Shema, the halacha is when you're Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim, you stand still. You don't move. That's Kabbalah al Malchus Shemayim. Atan Netzavim Hayoim, says the Zohar, Hayoim is Rosh HaShana. Rosh HaShana is a day when Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim. It's a day Netzavim. You can't be moving around. That means you can't have anything else in mind. You can't be doing anything else. It's a day of Kabbalah al Malchus Shemayim. That's what Shofar is. Kedei shetamluchuni aleichem, to be Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim. So now we understand why the Zohar says that Netzavim. It's a day that you're standing still. You're not moving. Same in the first parasha of Shema, the first pasuk of Shema, you're not going to be walking around when you're Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim. The same thing with Rosh HaShana. Today, the Tzavim, we're standing still. All we're doing is being Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim. And if you look through the davening of Rosh HaShana, it doesn't say anything about Tshuva. Rosh HaShana davening the whole time is speaking about how the Eibishter runs the world. The Eibishter is the king of the world. He judges us then. Malchiyos, Zechronos, Shofros. It's all saying how the Eibishter is the one who runs the world. And that's what Rosh HaShana is about. Melech, we say HaMelech HaKadosh, HaMelech HaMishpat. Some people have a minhag that we start by HaMelech, right? We start by Sheikhanad. We don't start Sheikhanad, we start by HaMelech. Regularly, Yom Tov, where do you start from? HaKel. On Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, you don't start from HaKel. We start from HaMelech. Why do we start from HaMelech? Because the main thing of Rosh Hashanah is HaMelech. We have to know who's the king. And it also answers the other kasha everyone asks. On Rosh Hashanah, we ask for Eibishter to give us a good year. Right? With davening, comes the Eibishter paskins that day exactly what's going to happen to everybody that year. Now, after Rosh Hashanah, there's Sefer Tshuva, and then Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a day that we do Tshuva. It should be the opposite. You do Tshuva on your Averis, and then you ask Hashem to give you a good year. Why are we asking Hashem to give us a good year before we do Tshuva on our Chatoim? The answer is, with Hashanah, when Hashem gives us a good year, it's not dependent on our Chatoim. It's dependent on one thing. We realize who is running the world. We say, Hashem, you're the one who runs. I'm going to do Tshuva, don't worry. After Hashanah, I'm going to do Tshuva.
I heard that one.
I'll get to that. But as long as you're Mekabel, Ol Malchus Shemayim, that you know Hashem runs the world, HaMelech HaKadosh, HaMelech HaMishpat, then Hashem writes us in for a good year. We have to realize, we have to know who's the one who makes these decisions. There's a story that I just heard recently. If any of you heard, let me know, but I just heard recently from a Ephraim Waxman. He said over a story, a very, very interesting story. I think it's very appropriate for this time of year. He says there's Israel, there's a group of Balabatim that learn every night. And they finished the Masechta. I guess it was a big simcha, they were learning for a while. They finished the Masechta and they made a siyum. Now, when they made a siyum like you're supposed to make a siyum. They made a whole suda, they had some good mashka there. And one of the Balabatim had a little bit too much to drink. He drank and he had a little shikr, a little high. And he gives a cup on the table, and he says, I want to say something. This person already was in his 60s or 70s. He says, I want to say something. I want to tell you my life story. So he says to everybody who's sitting, everybody see him. You heard the story, Mendel?
No.
I want to tell you my life story. What's his life story? He says that he was young. His parents came from Europe. They moved to America. And they had no shaykhs to Yiddishkeit. The only thing that happened was he got a bris when he was born. And they spoke Yiddish in the house. That's about as far as his Yiddishkeit went. Yiddish and a bris. That's it. Tefillin, no tefillin. Shabbos, there was no Shabbos, nothing. He got involved with some crooked people. They were doing business deals that weren't exactly correct and straight. And they were making a lot of money. He says he was, I think he says he was maybe 18 or 20 years old, I think he said he was. And he had a lot of money, but the money came the wrong ways. And one day they had a business meeting in a restaurant. He says, I went into the business meeting to take care of a great big deal. I walked out of that business meeting in handcuffs. Why? Because it was a setup from the FBI, and they set him up for a meeting, and they busted them, and him and two of his partners were all arrested for treason, whatever it was. They were all arrested, and they went to trial. So they were on bail. Said one of his friends somehow or another get out of the country while he was on bail. They never heard from him again. The second one of his friends, also a guy, decided that he's going to say everything that happened and I'll get an easier trial. And he told them everything that happened. By the time it came to him, he had all the information they needed. And he was ready set up to go to court, and it was going to be 25 years locked up in prison. So he went and he hired a lawyer. This guy had money and he got a good lawyer. And the lawyer said, listen, it's a very hard case. I can't guarantee. I'll try to do whatever I could do. Discussed it with the lawyer. They had a court date. And the lawyer says, yeah, it's a very, very hard case. I can't guarantee you, but we'll see what we could do. Fine, it comes before a few days before the court case, and this person, he's saying about himself, I was very down. The lawyer says, doesn't look too promising, and it's going to be 25 years in prison. He says, I was a 20-year-old boy then. 25 years in prison is the best years of my life. I went into a restaurant, I was sitting there, ordered something, I was crying. And as I'm sitting there crying, an old Yid comes over to me, and he taps me on the shoulder and says, what's your problem? What's the matter? He looks at him and says, this was an older Yid. He says, you understand my problems? I'm busy now with the government, with the FBI. You're not going to understand the problems. So he says to him, he rolls up his sleeve, and he shows him that he had a number on his hand. He says, I know what problems mean. So he saw that, he couldn't push the guy away anymore. He felt bad. He says, okay, so what are you going to do about it? He says, you come with me. We'll take care of your problems. He says, where are we going? He says, I hired a lawyer already. He says, no, a lawyer's not going to help you. You need a Rebbe. You need a Rebbe to help you. So the guy looks at him, Rebbe, what do I know from Rebbes? He says, come with me. It was on the Lower East Side then. And they went to I think it was a Skolyer Rebbe. Skolyer Rebbe was known to be a very chashuv person. So he brings him up to the Skolyer Rebbe, and the Skolyer Rebbe asks him, what's going on? And he starts talking to the Skolyer Rebbe in Yiddish. But this guy knew Yiddish. He looked like a guy, but he knew Yiddish. And the Skolyer Rebbe listens to him, and he laughs, and he says, okay, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. Maybe everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Your lawyer is not going to make it to the trial, but everything will be okay. That's what he told him.
That's what's going to be okay.
That's what he told him. So he doesn't know what to do. The Rebbe tells him. He goes to the court. This is 9 o'clock was called for the trial, and his lawyer Taka didn't show up. And they're waiting, and his lawyer's not there. After like a half hour, his lawyer calls in. And he says, "Listen, I was
Rabbi told me that.
I was traveling, and my flight got canceled. And I'm not going to make it, but I'm sending somebody else, a different lawyer from my firm, to represent you." And sure enough, a few minutes later, in walks this 21-year-old boy, and he says, "Oh, how you doing? I'm your lawyer." And this guy looks at him and says, "This guy's my lawyer." It's when the empire doesn't know what he's talking about. They had no choice. They had to use him as a lawyer. They come and they start the case, and one side says the FBI, the government says their whole whatever accusations they had, and then this young lawyer gets up there to represent his client. And he gets up there and he says the first 5 minutes he was talking sense. After 5 minutes, he was not talking anything that made any sense. He was going on and on and on. He spoke for an hour, and 55 minutes of that hour made zero sense. And the lawyer and the judge is getting upset, and more upset. And finally, after an hour, he says, "Okay." The judge turns around to the prosecutors, to the FBI, and says, "You guys have no case over here. It makes no sense why you want to put this guy in jail. Case dismissed," and the guy's fine. Nothing. No charges against him. That's not what happened. So he goes over to the lawyer. He says, "What were you talking about here for so long?" He says, "I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. It's my first case I was ever at." So he says, "So what happened? How did you convince the judge?" He says, "I'll tell you a little secret. The judge is my grandfather." The judge is my grandfather. He wanted to give me, he wanted to put me on the map. So he wanted to help me out. So he said the case is dismissed and everything was okay. And this guy was off the hook. Those 25 years, he's fine. Then he goes back to the scholar Rabbi and says to him, "Rabbi, what's going on over here? How did you know what was going on?" So he says, "I'll tell you one thing. I don't have to tell you what I know and how I know it. But one thing, you owe me 25 years. So he says, "Okay, so what do you want me to do?" He says, "I'm not going to ask you to keep Shabbos. I know it's hard for you. I'm asking you one thing. Put on tefillin every day. That's it. Just put on tefillin every day." So the guy says, "Okay, if the Rebbe says so, I got to put on tefillin every day. It's 25 years with tefillin every day. I'll pick the tefillin every day." So he said, then he went to the Lower East Side, and he went to his farm store and says, "Can I have a pair of tefillin?" And the guy in his farm store looks at him, looks like a guy. Not really, he says, "No, I'm not selling you tefillin. How do I know what you're going to do with it? I'm not selling you tefillin." He goes to another farm store, also, "I'm not selling you tefillin." No one wanted to sell him tefillin because it looked like a guy. So finally he came to one farm store, and the guy said, "Listen, I'm not selling you tefillin. I'll sell you tefillin on one condition." He says, "This person, Rabbi Jacob, lives in Crown Heights. You go to him, he'll tell you what tefillin means, and if he writes me a letter that you understand what tefillin means, I'll give you to him." So he says he went to his Rabbi Jacobson. He made him come back a few times and explain to him exactly what tefillin is, and he gave him a letter, and he got tefillin. And then, since then, he's putting on tefillin, and that's how he started becoming from. That's a story that this person told to Ephraim Waxman. So, what do you see from this story? A person comes in, you're thinking about it, the person who's saying the story says, "When I was sitting there by the trial, and this lawyer was blabbling and not making any sense, I was nervous. I had no idea what was going on. This guy was confident like anything. How could a guy be so confident that he's going to win the case when he's not making any sense?"
Grandfather.
The answer is because he knows the judge. He knew the judge. Once he knows the judge, he's confident. The judge is his grandfather. The same thing is for Rosh HaShana. We're coming to a din. A lot of us are blabbling. We don't know what we're talking about in davening. We're trying. We take an art scroll a little bit here. We know a few words here, a few words there. A lot of things we don't know what we're talking about. Why are we so confident? Why are we so confident that we're going to come away after Rosh HaShana with a good psak din? The answer is because we know that who's the judge? The judge is our Father. The Eibusher is our Father. He's our judge. But it's only if you know that it's your father. The person who was standing in trial didn't know that it was the grandfather of the lawyer, so he was nervous. But once we say, we understand, we know who the judge is, we know it's the Eibusher, then we can be confident that we'll come out with a good judgment. But the first step is we know Hashem is the king. I think it was important to have that story. I'll tell you another story that happened with me. Also a similar story, not like this, but on the same scale. But also, I have a daughter that just got a license, and a teenager. She was driving for a week, and she got pulled over for going through a stop sign, and she got 3 tickets. Right on the spot, it ended up at $250. She comes and says, "Tati, the guy pulled me over." I said, "Did you go through a stop sign?" "I don't think so. I think I stopped. I don't know." I said, "Listen, you're just driving. You should drive for a couple of weeks. You already got 3 tickets, $250. You know what I mean? You're going to be on your own. You have to take care of this yourself from now on." I said, "You know what? I'll take care of it for you the first time. I'll pay the tickets, whatever. We'll go down to court, but I don't want to see this happening again. If it happens again, you're on your own. I'm not going to help you out." Fine. So we made a court date. We went down to court. It's called the whatever it's called again, the pre-trial. We meet the prosecutor. The prosecutor says, "I'm going to make it a less of offense." Then you go to the judge, and the judge will decide how much. So it makes less of offense. No demerit points, but there's still a $200 fine, $250 fine. You go to the judge, and you see what the judge says. Fine, my daughter says to me, "It's $250. You're going to pay for it?" I said, "I have a choice. I'll pay for it this time. Next time I'm not going to pay for it. But just don't do it again." We come to the court. There's this Goyish lady sitting there, the judge. My daughter's in front of me. I'm facing the judge, and the judge starts questioning her. "How old are you?" "I'm 18. "You're pretty young. Show up in court." An 18-year-old already showing up in court. She says, "Yeah, I know, but what do you do?" She told her that she's in school. Next day she's working. And she says, "You know what type of offense you did?" She says, "Yeah." And I was sitting behind it. I'm nodding to the judge the whole time. Yeah. I know, she knows what she did wrong. "Are you going to do it again?" So she says, "No." And I tell the judge, "Oh, no. I go like this. No, she's not doing this again. I guarantee you, she's not doing it again." So the judge says, "Oh, I see you have your father's approval." So my daughter turns around and says, Yeah. He's okay. She asks a few questions. Then she says, "Okay, case dismissed. Nothing. No charges, no fines, nothing. Everything is off." So I've learned something else from there. Besides the judge who can decide what they want, if you have the right backing behind you, also you get cleared from the trial. We have the ambush is the judge. We also have the right backing behind us, meaning we know we have a Torah with us. We have a Torah with us that tells us what to do. If you go to the ambush and we say, "Listen, I know I've done wrong. I know I did chatoim. I'm going to try not to do it again. But one thing I guarantee you, I'm going to try to go up Derech HaTorah. I'm going to try to keep to it. Keep to those rules. And that's going to back me." Maybe she listens to that. But we have to come, first of all, knowing that who's the one who makes the judgment. And second of all, knowing that we have that dracha of the Torah, whether it's the Torah itself, whether it's people telling us how to learn the Torah, whatever it is, that's how we have to come prepared. If we come prepared that way, then we know we're okay. That was that Gada part. Now let's get to the halacha part. So in Tkiyas Shofar itself, we know there's 2 types of Tkiyas. There's something called Tkiyas de Miyoshev and Tkiyas de Me'umid. Now, why is it called that way? Anybody know why one's called Tkiyas de Miyoshev? The ones before Shemona Esrei are called Tkiyas de Miyoshev. The ones during Shemona Esrei are called Tkiyas de Me'umid. And the reason for that is because
in the Shemona Esrei when you were standing up.
No, now they're also in the middle of Shemona Esrei.
Yeah, in the middle of your private Shemona Esrei.
No. It never used to be in the middle of private Shemona Esrei.
It's Friday.
Sepharad does it.
That's right.
Ashkenaz never had it in the private Shemona Esrei. In the Yachid Shemona Esrei. So why is it called Kiyas de Me'umid and Kiyas de Miyoshev? The reason is because the Ikar Takana of Tkiyas Shofar today was Al Seder. Meaning, you have to blow by Malchiyos, you have to blow by Zechreinos, you have to blow by Shofros. Like we do with Chazar Hashatz. We blow Shofar 3 times. Why do we blow Shofar 3 times? One after Malchiyos, one right after Zechreinos, and one right after Shofros. That's called blowing the Tkiyas Al HaSeder. Al HaSeder means on the Seder of the Brachas. After Malchiyos, you blow. After Zechreinos, you blow. After Shofros, you blow. That's called Al HaSeder. That's why Sfarad put in the Tkiyas by Shto Shemona Esrei also Al HaSeder. By Malchiyos, they give a clap and then they blow Tkiyas. Then they say Shemona Esrei weiter. The reason why it wasn't done lechatchila is because people get mixed up by davening. The davening, You have to wait. Did they blow the way they're holding? Everybody knew. I remember when I was a kid, I davened Svared, I davened Shemona Esrei, and kids, for some reason or another, they know the words of Shemona Esrei very, very well, Rosh HaShana, and they finish very quickly. And then later on, they realize they don't know the words, but for some reason, at a certain age, they know it very well. So I was at that age, and I'm standing there, and I'm davening, and I finished the whole Shemona Esrei, and then I was on hit Tkiyah Shofar. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Blowing Shofar, then I look at the guy's mouth next to me, I see he stopped. I turn back 1 page, 2 pages, I'm still turning, and suddenly I get the first Tkiyah Shofar. Then I realized you have to go daven till the first Tkiyah, then daven the rest. So of course I went to my father, asked him what's going on. I told him, yeah, this is the way we daven here, the Shofar is... But that's why Ashkenaz or Sfat came around. I didn't blow any Tkiyas. In Halacha, it says you should not blow the Tkiyas during the Shtil Shemona Esrei because of that reason. But that's called Tkiyas the Mu'umid. Why? Because those Tkiyas are really the Ikr Tkiyas. The Ikr Tkiyas are the Tkiyas that you have during Chazaras Hashatz. Because it's Al HaSeder of the Brachas. And the Halacha is, by Tkiyas Shofar, you have to stand. Not by all mitzvahs that you have to stand. By Tkiyah Shofar, besides the brachas, you have to stand when you be Mekayim, the mitzvah of Tkiyah Shofar, you have to stand. The Tkiyah Shofar before Shemona Esrei, which wasn't the real Tkiyas, the halacha was you're allowed to sit. You're allowed to sit by those Tkiyas. Because those aren't the real Tkiyas that we're being used to the mitzvah with. You're right, to make a bracha, we blow Tkiyas then. But the main Tkiyas that we're being used to the mitzvah with are the Tkiyas that we have later on during Chazaras Hashatz. That's why the ones before Chazaras Hashatz are called Tkiyas de Miyushiv, because you're allowed to sit. And if you sit, it's fine. Later on, you have to stand by the Tkiyas. So if someone wants to sit by the first Tkiyas, someone has a choice. An elderly person, he can't stand. So should he stand by the first Tkiyas, or should he stand later on by the Tkiyas that we blow Al HaSeder? The answer is, let him sit by the first Tkiyas. He should stand by the later Tkiyas, which is during Chazaras Hashatz, Al HaSeder, because those are the Ikr Tkiyas. But in Halacha, if you look, it says, the Ramah brings down, that what do you blow by the Tkiyas, the Mu'umid? After Malchiyos you blow Tashrat. After Zecharinis you blow Tashat. And after Shofis you blow Tarat. That's what the Ramah says. Hagar, the Mechaber says, V'achshav noyagin, that Tkoya l'malchis Tashrat Gimel Pamim, u'l'zechroinis Tashat Gimel Pamim, u'l'shofis Tarat Gimel Pamim. And the Chubis Fardim do that. Tashrat 3 times by Malchiyos, Malchiyos, Tashat 3 times by Zechroinis, and Tarat 3 times by Shofris. Hagar, v'yesh oimim shetokim Tashrat l'malchiyos pam echad, v'chein l'zechroinis, v'chein l'shofris. The meaning of the Ramah is, no, you blow Tashrat once, all 3 times. The Mishnah Berurah brings down, from the Shloah, U'shloah kosev ad-derech ha-mufchar, l'tkoya Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat, l'malchiyos, v'chein l'zechroinis, v'chein l'shofris. So that meaning started much later. Times of the Ramah, they didn't blow Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat by Malchiyos. So in those times, it could be that since they didn't blow, why do we blow Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat? I should start off with this. What's the Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat? Where does it come from? Because we're not sure exactly what. All it says in the Torah is you have to blow 3 Tekiyas. That's all it says in the Torah. Much easier. 3 Tekiyas and Yaitzim. But we learn, the Gemara learns, that you have to have a teruah with every Tekiyah, and after every teruah, a Tekiyah again. So when the Torah says you have to blow 3 Tekiyas, it means Tekiyah. We learn Tekiyas from Yevel. We have a drush from the Pasuk. You have to blow 3 Tekiyas. What does 3 Tekiyas mean? 3 Tekiyas means Tekiyah, Teruah, Tekiyah. That's what the Torah means. You have to blow 3 Tekiyas. So it should be enough to blow Tekiyah, Teruah, Tekiyah 3 times. But that's, we don't know exactly what's called a Teruah. We're not sure if it's a Shvarim, or if it's a Teruah, or if it's a Shvarim Teruah. So therefore, when we make the bracha at Tkiyah Shofar, we yates everything. We blow Tashrat 3 times, because you have a shvarim teruah, maybe that's the teruah, tashat, maybe that's the shvarim, that's the teruah, and tarat. So if you would blow on malchiyas, zechreinis, and shofris, you would only blow tashrat, then it could be you weren't yetzi yechiv. Because it could be tashrat is not the real teruah. It could be the real teruah is shvarim or teruah. That's why the Shloh said you should blow tashrat, tashat, tarat by every time, by every one of the brachas. And then you yetzi chalashitis and chaladayis. So today that we're doing that, and we're blowing tashrat, tashat, tarat by all the brachas, so that's the best thing. But we ate everything, we ate all the shittas. So today for sure, the main tkiyas are the tkiyas that you blow in Al Seder, not the tkiyas that we blow right away in the beginning. And so the truth is, even ladies who come, they hear the first tkiyas and then they leave. The main tkiyas are the tkiyas later on. But the truth is, they want to get the bracha, so they come and shas the bracha. They're not going to say throughout the whole davening. So they do it, they get the bracha and the first tkiyas, and then you yotze. But the main chiv tkiyas is al haseder. So if someone asks you, I heard the 30 tkiyas, I'm fine. The answer is no. If you could, if it's possible, you hear the first 30 tkiyas, you should also hear the tkiyas al haseder, malchus, zechreinis, and shofris. We blow extra tkiyas. We want to get the 100 tkiyas. There's a whole different reason why. Also, it's a shlah to get the 100 tkiyas. But even that, someone's not makbid in that, to get to the 100 tkiyas. Which ladies usually are not makbid to get to the 100 tkiyas. But al haseder is a whole different thing. To hear the tkiyas sheif al haseder, malchus, zechreinis, and shofris, that's mikra adin. That's not just to be mekayim the extra shita of 100 tkiyas. So if a lady has a choice to hear the second set, the set al haseder, or the first one, it's better for her to hear the later ones. But the problem is, there's no bracha than the later ones. So they can make their own bracha. Let it come to shul by the Rosh HaShana, right before Tkiyas Shofar, and make your own bracha l'shmoya kol shofar, and be yetzer with the Tkiyas al seder. It could be she's better off with that, but she's got to be there for a long period of time, whatever it takes, from the first set of Tkiyas to the last set of Tkiyas after shofars. That's why the minhag is today that most ladies come in the beginning, hear the first 30, and they yetzer, especially if they have kids, they can't keep them quiet too long, so they yetzer the first 30. But really, the main mitzvah of the Tkiyas Shofar is to last the ones you have during Chazar Hashat. So a person should try as much as possible to hear those tkiyas at the end. And not just that, it has to be done al seder. What does it mean al seder? On the brachas, malchus, zechreinis, and shofris. If a person is not there, b'shas hashatz, is saying malchus, zechreinis, and shofris, so then he also missed it. A person walks out of shul during malchus or during zechreinis, and he comes back in. So it could be he messed up his ikar chiyuv of tkiyas shofar. Because the ikar chiyuv of tkiyas shofar is al haseder, malchus, zechreinis, shofris. If you're not there, you're not being yetzer with the shots, malchus, zechreinis, and shofris, so then for you it's an al haseder. You can't be yetzer with the shots if you're not there. You can only be yetzer with the shots if you're there, but shots are saying it. So if you walk out in the middle, you may have blown it. That's
if you talk in the middle, have you blown it? Or not?
He didn't blow it, no. You're not supposed to talk in the middle, but if he spoke out in the middle, he didn't blow it. No. You're still yetzer.
Interesting.
So the reason why they do
Didn't blow it, yeah.
the reason why they do the ones that aren't the ikr first is because you need a bracha.
No.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do a bracha. Again, how would you fit the bracha?
Right.
All of a sudden,
It could be. It could be. Interesting point. Very interesting point. So why do we make a bracha on those before Musaf? Make a bracha on the later ones. You can't make a bracha later on. It's a middle of Musaf. But I don't know. It could be the Batal Keh would be able to make a bracha.
Is there any difference in approach for the Baal Tekiah between the sets?
No.
The lip gets bigger.
It's harder. Yeah, later on it gets harder.
Yeah.
But
Up here.
no. But the reason why we blow before Musaf, it says the Arab is a Satan. The reason why we have those set of keys before Musaf is to mix up the Satan. We're coming to Daven Musaf. We want to. That's when we ask Hashem to remember us for good. You want to mix up the Satan beforehand. So we blow a bunch of keys and it gets confused, and then we can go ahead and daven. So it says the Arab is a Satan blow the first 30 keys.
Those first 30 we do after the bracha, it's set up the same way as it is during Chazar Hashatz, right? You have
Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat.
So
Yeah.
why isn't the first 30 you hear, why aren't you Yotzei with those things?
You are, yeah, listen to Yetzer. You are
Because you said the lady should stay in this.
No, because the main key stay is ala seder. On Malchus, Zechron Shefes, you have to say Malchus and then blow. Say Zechronis and then blow. Say Shefes and then blow. You're right. If a lady's going to come into shul, right, and she's just going to hear that set of tkiyas, but she's not going to hear the whole Malchus, that doesn't make a difference. She didn't gain anything, right?
If she stays for the first part of Shemon Esrei, the first part of Chazar Esrei.
Yeah, the first one also is nothing.
Yeah.
The main thing is the Malchus Shemon Esrei.
That's a Tkiyat Shofar.
Yeah, of course the Yetzer. You Yetzer the mitzvah Tkiyah Shofar when you hear the first 30 Tkiyas, you Yetzer.
Right.
100% you Yetzer the mitzvah Tkiyah Shofar.
I just wanted to get that on.
Yeah. 100% the Yetzer Tkiyah Shofar.
wanted to get it on.
Yeah, 100%. But
And when you're blowing for a lady who's sick or something like that, you just do the 30.
yeah, also not just that. And Allah says that if someone's davening b'chidus, he should not blow Malchus. It's only b'tzibur. Someone's blowing b'chidus, he should only blow a 30 tkiyas before Shemon Esrei, and that's it. He should not blow and say the Malchus Chayei Shofars. But still, in Allah it says the ikr tkiyas b'tzibur are Malchus and Chayei and Shofars. So we have to realize, of course, you Yetzer the mitzvah in the beginning, but the main part of the mitzvah is later on. And only if you hear Malchus and Chayei and Shofars. I know people are not so makbid in that. Malchus is a long break because the chazan is saying a lot of words. They go out, they'll use the bathroom, whatever it is, they come back in and they missed out a lot of the Malchus. It shouldn't be done. If you have to use the bathroom or anything, make sure you do it before Malchus.
It's a good argument for not slipping out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm shocked.
No, but the truth is,
People
Malchus is a kind of
stay,
shreifers.
live
Malchus is a kind of shreifers. Most people don't slip out. It's just saying. No one seems they come out.
That's where
And Malchus is kind of
You get
shreifers.
you the first shloshim, then you can't move the bracha because it's mavim.
Right. You can't move the bracha. Right. You have to make the bracha beforehand.
Yeah.
For sure. But I find it a lot. People they're not makbid to listen to Malchus Chayei Shofars. They can walk out, and you should make sure. And it's not that long. I've timed it already. In most shuls, the whole Malchus, each thing is 5, 7, 10 minutes maybe by a long shul. Right. The most of the Rosh HaShana is beforehand. The long part, the singing and everything is all beforehand. Once you get to Malchus Chayei Shofars, until you finish Shofars, okay, then you have Ritzeh, and you have a Seyorah, you have all that. But just the Malchus Chayei Shofars usually is not more than a half hour. And it's good to listen to it, because if the Ikr mitzvah is ala seder, you should make sure you hear all the words of Malchus Chayei
If
Shofars.
someone's blowing for someone that's sick,
Right?
the person that makes the bracha is the person that's listening, right?
You should make the bracha, yeah.
The person that's listening, not
Yeah.
the person that's blowing.
The person that's listening should make the bracha. 100%. The person listening should make the bracha. If they can't, then you can be waiting to them.
That's a private. That's what you're playing.
Someone's sick, someone's home. They go to the
No,
I always thought the
even if
person
you're
that's
blowing,
makes the bracha.
even if you're blowing for a bunch of people who they weren't Yetzer yet and you were Yetzer,
Right.
they should make the bracha, not you.
One person makes for everybody?
So that depends, men or ladies.
Yeah.
Men, one makes. Everybody, ladies, everyone should make their own bracha. Fine. Everyone should have a good ben shiur.